Hi, everyone. I'm Arnav. I'm a product manager on Teams for Frontline. I'm specifically responsible for building Teams deployment tools and activation levers to increase or accelerate the time to value for frontline workers. And I'm proud to announce one of the latest features that we've developed and we shared during the M365 conference, and that's to scale a Teams pilot to your frontline workforce. And to share a little bit of context on who frontline workers are, they actually make up 80% of the global workforce. So this includes retail associates that you see at your local supermarket, nurses that you see at your health clinic, warehouse workers, and that list goes on and on. These frontline workers are the backbone of our economy, and they have a need to communicate and collaborate just as much as we do. And when we think about Microsoft Teams, we often think about information workers like us, sitting at desks, taking meetings, taking calls, and chatting with one another. But Teams actually supports frontline workers as well, who also need to communicate and collaborate. And we offer frontline apps on Teams like Shifts for schedule management, Walkie-Talkie, or Planner for task management. And we also built our own frontline AI agent. However, since we do offer so much value to frontline workers, it does require some upfront admin configuration and deployment, especially for those larger organizations that have thousands of frontline workers, where organizations want to deliver consistent, standardized experiences. So this is the problem space that I work on. How can we allow admins at these large enterprise companies to deliver these standardized, scalable experiences on Teams for frontline workers? And this is a good transition into some of the work that my team has been doing here. And back in November, kind of during the Ignite time last year, 2025, we launched a feature to enable frontline organizations to start a frontline pilot. And this was as simple as selecting which capabilities you want to start off with, selecting a frontline team by adding a few members and giving frontline manager ownership privileges, and going ahead and deploying that. And that can work for one store, you can do it for a couple stores, and you can start off a pilot there and test out some of the capabilities and make sure that, hey, that these frontline capabilities actually meet your frontline needs. But now that that's in market, now we've released a feature that allows you to scale that pilot to an entire frontline workforce. So if you started with just one frontline team or maybe 20 users, how do you scale that to now thousands of frontline workers or hundreds of frontline teams? And this is exactly what we've built. And this feature encompasses 5 different capabilities. So first is to extend a pilot to your frontline workforce. So if you've already started a pilot, with a smaller subset of users, you can extend that to a larger set of users. Second, it's to create and manage a single pinned app configuration. So with the pilot experience, you do it at a much smaller scale with a small subset of users. But now with this feature, you can expand that to thousands of users, and you can also manage it. So you can edit what pinned apps your frontline workers see as well, reorder the apps on that app bar, which they'll see on their devices. Third, you can organize your frontline workforce into static teams. This is optional. You don't have to organize your frontline workforce into static teams if you don't want to, and you can proceed without it and do it later. But this is a great way to make sure that your frontline workers know who they're working with and they have the tools necessary to collaborate with their colleagues, whether it's at a store, whether it's at a warehouse, whether it's at a hospital, or wherever it may be. Fourth, you can actually manage your entire scale deployment in one single location. So this allows you to add more teams if you would like. You can also edit your pinned app configuration, as I mentioned before. You can add members, remove members as necessary as well. And lastly, you can also track adoption of teams across all your static teams with our usage insights dashboard. And this is all accessible on our Frontline hub in the Teams admin center to get started. And you can see that link as well available right there. So with that, I'll get into a live demo. And this is a pre-recorded video because if I were to do a live demo, it would take quite a while. So I'll play this video and this should be about 4 or 5 minutes. So let's get this going.
Fall, we introduced Pilots, a simplified sandbox experience that allowed admins to quickly test Frontline settings with a focused group of users. This gave organizations a safe way to validate their configuration, gather feedback from real store teams, and build the confidence they needed before rolling out changes more broadly. Now we're enabling that next step, giving admins a fast, structured way to take what worked in their pilot and scale it across their organization using static teams and groups. In this demo, I'm an admin at Contoso Retail. About 30 days ago, I launched pilot deployments for both our NYC and Boston stores from the Frontline section of the Teams Admin Center, using them to run light A/B style testing with slightly different capability configurations. After reviewing feedback and usage patterns, NYC's configuration drove stronger adoption, so I'm now ready to scale that validated experience to more locations. To do that, I'll extend the successful NYC pilot, converting it into a static team deployment that will serve as the foundation for future scale. From the confirmation dialog, I can quickly review the pilot details and capabilities before proceeding. Right from here, I can begin expanding my deployment by adding more frontline workers. At this point, I have two options: set up additional teams that behave exactly like my extended pilot, or use existing teams and groups to identify users who should receive these capabilities. Since I like the location-based approach during my pilot, I'm going to continue by creating additional store teams. When adding new teams, I can either enter them individually or deploy in bulk using a CSV. Let's begin by creating a single Redmond store team. After entering the team details, I'll deploy just this one team first, giving me an opportunity to get comfortable with the team deployments. Once submitted, I can already see the new Redmond store team appear alongside my extended NYC deployment in the Teams table. If I navigate to the Settings tab, I'll notice that the same apps and pinning order that worked successfully in my pilot have already been carried forward, giving me confidence that this new team will be set up for success from day one. Clicking into a team allows me to easily view and edit details such as the name, description, owners, and members. Because this experience mirrors what I am used to during the pilot phase, I'm able to make updates quickly without needing to learn a new workflow. With this simplified team management in place, I feel confident continuing towards my first deployment cohort. This time, I'll use the bulk CSV option to scale more efficiently. After downloading the template and entering the required team and user information, I'm presented with a summary of the 9 additional store teams that will be deployed. With just a few clicks, I can submit all 9 at once and see them in an in-progress state within the table. While those new team deployments complete, I also want to bring my Boston pilot into alignment with this broader rollout. Since I've already validated that NYC's configuration best meets the needs of my frontline workforce, I can merge the Boston pilot directly into the team deployment, ensuring it now receives the same standardized settings. From the pilot's detail page, I select Merge. The confirmation dialog lets me know the Boston's original configuration will be replaced by the validated settings already defined in my deployment, which is exactly what I want, so I'll go ahead and continue. Once complete, I'll return to the Teams table where I can now see my Boston store, the 9 newly deployed locations, and my original NYC store, all configured and ready for use. And this is where static teams at scale really starts to shine. With my first deployment cohort successfully rolled out, I'm already planning the next wave of store locations. And I'll continue to use this deployments page as my central hub for managing teams, standardizing frontline experiences, and scaling confidently across the organization. What began as a small pilot has now evolved into an operational foundation that I can build over time, helping ensure every new store we onboard is set up consistently, efficiently, and with the capabilities they need from day one.
Perfect. Yeah. And that concludes the demo.
Fall, we introduced pilot.
And let's go to the next slide, where I'd love for our community to try it out today. So we have Learn Docs available, which goes step by step, exactly what you saw within the demo. We also have a blog where we announce this for M365 conference. And the last thing I'd like you guys to take away is while this was a scale deployment for static teams, The next step would be to automate membership on those static teams. This is a common ask which we see from frontline customers, and I want to say that we have a tool already available for that, and this has been out in the market for maybe a little over a year, it might already be 2 years, but you can actually link your deployment with something that we call flexible membership. And I have that link to that Learn doc here as well, and I'll paste it in the chat right after this. But flexible membership allows you to automate membership on your teams based on Entra attributes. So if you give a certain rule saying that, hey, you want to sync membership based on this specific attribute and these specific values, then membership will be synced based on that, and users will be added and removed automatically. And additionally, your frontline managers who are team owners of those teams have the ability to manually remove or add members as well as they'd like. So you get the best of both worlds of dynamic membership and static membership, and that's flexible membership. So if you are interested in, really supercharging your, static team deployment with automated membership, definitely use this feature that we shipped a really long time ago, as this is still applicable and will get you that augmented membership that a lot of frontline customers do like. So yeah, thank you.